Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go. And if you need any help with anything, check out finding-value.com. We've got a 5 p.m. question and answer session coming up on Sunday, Mountain Time. And that's where I dive deeper into how I perceive the markets, how I have my strategies, and also the individual companies and sectors. I dive deeper into those. Let's dive in. Let's see what's going on with the market today. So we've got the dollar continuing its strong move to the upside. There we are. This side here, very bullish candlesticks, the big green army showing up. We had a very large bullish engulfing yesterday. We had before that a bearish engulfing, so we could see just how much change that we've had these past couple of trading sessions. You could also say we've had a little trend break here, kind of a breakout, retest, and then we're ripping. So I do think that we will see strengthening in the DXY continuing going forward in the short term. Backing out, to me, this looks very similar to a crude oil chart. Very similar. Looking at the 2-year yield, we were dropping a little bit today. So we had a down day in yields, and this could further extend to the downside. And I would watch what crude oil does, because if crude oil really does start to move to the upside, it seems like it has an impact to yields. Now, I know crude oil, I think it was down a little bit today. Yeah, it was down a little today. So we were down a little bit in yields, and the DXY, again, it is generally a function of relative strength against other currencies. So if I were to throw a crude oil chart on top of this, it won't interlay perfectly, but you can see that there it seems kind of correlated, pretty well correlated in terms of this. So we'll see if that correlation sticks, and we'll see if oil goes up or goes down and how yields are interacting with it. The 10-year yield also lower, down 1.2%. We hit our head on this resistance line going through there. Does this mean that we've got a bear flag pattern that is developed where we could break lower? It is possible. Could we get a slowdown in the market? A lot of things are possible, and this is what makes trading so difficult on the short term, because things can move and shift based off of different correlations in the market. So if I were to draw that in there, it looks something like this. There it is. And then the potential flag here. So when things face to the upward, so if you're in a bull trend, here's a shoulder, head, shoulder, breakout, retest, ripping on up. We've got a downward angled pattern, which is generally bullish. When we reach to patterns like this and they face upward, that's generally a bearish sign to head lower. So I do think that we're probably going to head down here. What does that mean? If we do head down there on a lot of these charts, we could get a pullback for a period of time, maybe this spring, and we pull back for a month or two, something like October 23 to the bottom of January, or to the end of December. So this is a couple month pullback. Maybe we get a couple month pullback. I don't know. We'll see with the trading, and if this chart pattern is in fact legit. TYX also has a similar pattern. Does seem like it's facing upward as well. And we'll see if we come back to this level down here. TYX TNX ratio, we just continue to stay inverted and just drift sideways with the inversion. And there we are, inverted, generally a good spot to be looking at precious metals. Bond prices going up, which means yields were down today, and we are using this as support. I'm trying to see if there's a neckline, but not really. But we've got support there. We're bouncing to the upside for the short term. Now, if this accelerates, that means yields are going lower. The 2-year, 10-year, it stays inverted, and we had a bear steepener where yields on the long end of the curve went down more than the short end. We are at a very inverted place of all of these areas. So generally speaking, when you go downward, that is when you could potentially have a crash. Last commodity bull market was from here to here. The crash occurred. Nope, not right there. The crash occurred somewhere in here. So when this curve uninverts, that's when the likelihood of potential crashes could occur in a lot of these markets. We are still highly inverted, and we could still be in the location of maybe 2006. I think that we're probably more like over here, perhaps in 2000, and we're early. Still, I know, still. Gold down $20 an ounce roughly. I think this is a breakout retest. I'd be a buyer. I would be a buyer. I think we'll eventually work our way higher. Silver also looking like it's trying to doing a retest. We're right on support. We'll see if we can break higher here. There's the trend line. We're right on top of it. We do have this big, ugly, bearish engulfing candlestick there, which I don't like seeing. I do not like seeing that. That generally is an indicator of a downward move. But inverted yield curve, and with the location of where we're at and how long we've been inverted, I think eventually silver is it's gonna break here at some point to the upside. With gold at all-time highs too, that's another indicator. Platinum down a little bit, getting some big red candlesticks, selling pressure. Maybe we head back here. I'd love for it to go down there. I'll buy some more. And then palladium also selling off today, but it's still above support. In this general location, not a bad spot to build a base out of. We've got XAU to gold ratio down a little bit today. Not surprising with the price of the metals down. And we're right on this kind of longer term support level, trending up higher. We got to break that big downtrend line. And I think it will come with the yield curve uninverting. I think it will come. CRB index, slightly lower with oil, but this just looks like it's flagging out. Give it time. It looks good. We'll probably continue higher. Now that's the disconnect. The disconnect is oil could be going up with yields going down, and that's generally towards the end of a late cycle move, if that occurs. And that's what we're looking for. CRB to S&P 500, very low level. And I do think that we've broken the downtrend. Let's see if we can get some momentum to the upside with the CRB index outperforms the S&P 500. So GDX was down today. Let's take a look. It still looks good. We're going to go higher. Still looks good to go higher and give it its best effort. Bullish engulfing, two small down candlesticks, generally a continuation move upward. GDXJ, same thing. It's like basically a retest right on top of this guy. I think it'll work its way on up, or at least it'll try to, unless we get different candlesticks. And SILJ still looking fantastic. It's just two small little down days right at resistance area. I think we're still game on to try to go. Still game on. Crude oil down a little bit. There we are. Not a huge selling pressure candlestick. You can see we've got three candlesticks to the two that came up. So the buying pressure is stronger than the selling pressure at these prices. I still think that we could go and drift higher. We're going to grind on up. TTF nat gas at support, still looking good. It's holding at the current time. Nat gas for Henry Hub, it's just basing out. Give it time, guys. This is going to take some time. I don't think it's just going to rip. It's going to base out. It's going to have an impact on coal. It's going to have an impact potentially on ammonium, but it's basing out. XOP, yeah, you know me. We've got slightly lower today. Doesn't look too bad. We are on top of the neckline of this big pattern. So we need oil to get its butt moving, and I think we could go maybe sideways to higher, is what I'm seeing. I like the big bullish engulfing here, but it still looks really good. OIH also looks good. Momentum's to the upside, not a huge reversal candlestick or anything like that. Could it be one where we could pull back a little bit? It's possible. A day or two pullback, yeah, okay. But it still looks really good from a longer term perspective to work its way on up. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, a little bit of selling pressure today. This is a difficult read because we've got this big downside momentum move here. We've consolidated sideways. We haven't really broken out and sustained the breakout. This still has the chance, I don't know, for some reason, I don't like the way this thing looks, that we could go lower. If you back out to the monthly, you get this gigantic red engulfing candlestick. And then you get a small little bounce here. That generally indicates a lower move, like we've got more of a pullback left in this. So, again, we'll see what happens. And I think that the possibility is still that we could pull back. This is a bearish engulfing on the daily. URA, see, these don't look too bad. Just small little candlesticks. They're not really tons of selling pressure. And it's a tough read here. We've got support going across. And, you know, is this, and I'm not trying to guess games here, but is this kind of a, you know, head and shoulders topping pattern? I doubt it. I mean, we are so close to the breakout of this guy here. But it is possible if yields were to go down, which is a high possibility. But in the short term, I don't see a reversal candlestick yet here. It still looks good to try to work its way on up. URNM also not much selling pressure yet. Still looks okay. And URNJ right at resistance. Not convincing that we're going to break higher, but it's also not convincing that we're just going to get a sell-off. But let's just say the big buts here. You know, we can start throwing some trend lines in here. And we throw trend lines in here. Here, I'll just copy this one here. So there's your channel that was going up. Here's your flag pull. And what I see is a breakout, a potential retest, and maybe this could head lower. I don't trade the short term, guys. I don't like it, but it does give you clues that maybe we're up against resistance. It could potentially roll over. And we have to see what the candlestick looks like the next couple of trading sessions. And I'll keep giving my opinions on it. Tan down a little bit. It's just consolidating sideways. Copper getting a larger pullback. This does look like it wants to do a retest of this big, huge breakout. And that very well could happen. It doesn't have to go all the way back. It could easily turn at any point down here. So be patient. Copper still looks fantastic on the short, medium, and longer term. COPX, not much selling pressure follow through here on the ETF. I still think we're going higher. A lot of the copper companies look fantastic. I think we're going to grind our way up. Lithium down a little bit. Man, this is a weird looking chart here. Let's get some more data. I don't want to say that this is broken down because sometimes you get these false little breakdown moves. And REMX is in the same position. Right on support, basically. And we have pulled back tremendously from its high here. Not it's not confidence inspiring to see all these big red candlesticks all intermixed through here. There's a lot, and we're going to have to turn that momentum around if it's going to bottom. S&P 500 down a little bit, still looks good. This isn't reversal candlesticks. They still look good to try to work its way on up. And then we've got NASDAQ it's a slight up day, but we'll see. Let's get some more data here. We do have some selling pressure. We've got a little bit of loss of momentum here. Here's your momentum kind of turning sideways here. We'll see if this is a false breakout. We need more data to see if there's a big red candlestick, then yeah, I would say we're probably heading lower. But if we hold on and we keep drifting higher, it seems like that's what the presidential election cycle wants, and maybe the Federal Reserve's in there buying it. I don't know. KRE, a little bit stronger selling pressure at resistance. We'll see if we get follow through here to the downside. We've got emerging markets, just a regular down day, kind of gap lower, just still consolidating. We want to see weaker dollar, weaker yields, and this will go up. XHB down 0.73%. It's not a reversal candlestick, though. It still looks really good to go higher. Like we're in some gigantic blow-off top that we just got to keep going. Moo down a little bit. We're at resistance, doing the retest thing. I like it. I actually like where this is located for Moo. Looks good to go higher. It's going to grind its way on up. Iron ore, it's still holding in there. It's still working its way on up. We do have lots of momentum coming down, though. So we got to work that off and turn it around. Nickel up. Nickel looks good. I think this is bottoming here, guys. Like this whole area, we're going to bottom in here. We'll go sideways and then work our way on up. Aluminum down a little bit. Still looking good to go higher. Still looks good to go higher. We've broken out of this pattern here. And we could go substantially higher if we can clear much higher than where we are today and close, weekly on it. Because it looks like this is kind of bottoming out here. It's based out. Looks good. Baltic Dry Index down a little bit. Looks like we might have a little bit of a pullback in the short term as it works its way on up. We've got Newcastle coal barely down. I like coal here. I think natural gas, coal over the next 4, 5, 6 months will probably base out. And then if inflation kicks back into gear, I think these are all going to go up. I think we're going to get a squeeze in oil, probably late 24, early 25, 25 at the latest, like mid to late 25 at the latest. And I think nat gas with all the LNG capacity, depending on weather too. If we get a cold winter, a very hot summer, a combination of those two, yeah, we could see all this turn around here over the next 6 months to a year. Bitcoin, still, man, what are we doing here? Down 2.75%. Oh, man, what does this look like? Looks like we've got support through here. We've got some wicks at the bottom. Definite selling pressure, and we're bouncing on that support. Let's watch it and see if we break to the downside. Momentum's still to the downside, but we gotta start breaking and making lower lows. We haven't done that yet. We're still working our way on up, wherever it is. So it's in an uptrend. We haven't broken anything yet, but we are getting some strong selling pressure. Ethereum's the same way. We've been working our way on up. And now we're going to see what kind of bounce we get. Are we going to continue lower, or are we going to work our way on up like this and then roll over, where we get like a flag pattern or something like that? That's probably likely the case, if I were to guess, just by how large these red candlesticks are. And yeah, that's what I would guess. SMCI, we can see it. We were up 0.12 today. Looks pretty weak, and we're closing some gaps here, or almost closing gaps. But we'll see if we get a big red candlestick the next trading session or two. That's what I'd be looking for. And Nvidia up 3%, still holding on, but it's big bearish engulfing. That's usually the beginning of a trend. You don't see too many of those anywhere else. And we could just drift sideways for a long time as well. Not stating it has to go lower, but we'll see if it continues. It's a 2.36 trillion market cap on this company here. That's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website. LEAP. We still have LEAP as a coupon code. 50% off the first month. We've got a little bit more of a discount on the yearly membership if you want to do that. You can switch from monthly to yearly as well to save money on a yearly membership if you guys like. And we've got Sunday, 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Show up there if you're a member. Ask whatever questions you guys got. I do have a training session. It's going to be on strategies, setting up a portfolio. If I were to set up a $100,000 portfolio, how would I set it up? What companies would I look at? What are the riskier ones? Provide some leverage to the potential move? How I view things, but I'll be honest, guys. It's really an art form to set up and find really good companies. It may not be as straightforward and mathematical. It's not a mathematical approach. It's almost like setting up and knowing how to position size some of these. It is a little bit of an art form. And I use a combination. I rely very heavily on technical analysis to find my stuff. And I'll show you guys what I do. And then I go and I dive into the company. I listen to their earnings calls. I do all sorts of stuff like that. And if their company is inflecting into a stronger environment and the technicals match, that's when I start to consider taking a position and how big I am going to size the position up. And we'll talk through all that stuff. So if you're interested, definitely sign up if you're interested in that type of approach. We do these. I do not really. We talk about this stuff. This isn't really a training. It's more of an opinion on how I set things up. And I could look backwards at what have been the most successful trades. I've got some. My largest gainer at the moment is SM Energy. If you guys want to see that one, I bought it $1.50. It's now trading. Actually, what it's probably up around like it was like 48.70 is where it's at right now today. So that's I think that's my largest return in the portfolio at the moment. And I've got other ones too. SM I actually shared on YouTube back in November. I think it was November 1st or 2nd of 2020. I purchased it in October at $1.50. It was still around that price too, even at that time. So if you want to go back and look at that clip I did, you can see me talking about SM Energy and how I was confused at the market cap that it had and the potential growth that it had in front of it. I was like, there's no way this thing's $168 million market cap. So it's at $5 billion today, 5.64 billion. So yeah, that's all I've got. We'll catch you guys later. This is Finding Value.